Today, we're looking at a green ink from Organic Studios and Unreleased ink, dark green. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around to the part you're most interested in. Or, if you've got the time, I'd appreciate you checking out the entire video. You could also follow me on Instagram, and if you like fountain pen ink reviews, I would invite you to subscribe. In order to make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I then put the ink into this Noodler's Nib Creeper, wrote with it for a day, and used it to take the notes for this video. In order to standardize, I always use Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper in this first writing sample. There will be more writing samples on different papers later in the video. Now, let's look at the writing sample. I picked this ink up in sample form, and to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at the Clairfontaine. We get no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. It's very dark. This is an Unreleased. That's what the Unreal is. That's smearing all about. That was me. The extra fine is a bit lighter than we got with the stub. With no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 13 seconds to dry. The medium is darker than the extra fine, about the same tone as the stub. With no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 20 seconds to dry. The scrubby of both show us no color variation. We didn't expect it, and we didn't get it. Tomoe River. No bleeding. Normal Tomoe River ghosting. The stub gives no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine gives slightly lighter tone than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. 18 seconds to dry. The medium is the same tone as the as the stub, which is a little darker than the extra fine, with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. 27 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation. We didn't expect it, we didn't get it. Rhodia paper, no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is slightly lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. 14 seconds to dry. The medium is about the same tone as the stub, just a little bit darker than the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. 21 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation. We didn't expect it, and we didn't get it. I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. Now you can see that this is a very light purple tone that's pushing its way up with a light green and then a very dark green. It's an interesting combination to really try and get that dark green by using a purple. I like what they tried to do. I'm glad they didn't release it. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water. Now, a lot of purple very much stayed on the bottom. The light green and the very dark green at the top are still there, but none of them traveled as far. But it does say that that purple might be a little bit more of a resistant thing. Resistance tests are done to see how well this ink can be expected to perform on the page and how hard it may be to clean from your pen. I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, don't use this if you have it in any note-taking. It looks like the glitch effect is going on. It is just blown out, blurry as hell. Yeah, just don't do it. Water is reactivating and lifting all of the darkest tones. However, there's some of those kind of, is that blues or greens staying behind? That purpley tone staying behind a little bit, fighting to stay on the paper. Now, Pen Flush did everything that water did, and I'm not sure if it's really doing a whole lot more. I do think I start to see some of the white of the paper coming through in areas, so that given a little bit more time, this is all that would be needed to get it out of your pen. But if it didn't work, then you could try the 1/3 bleach solution, which absolutely obliterated it. And then just make sure that you wash your pen with water after so you don't rust the metally bits. Now this smear is a good example of why I don't like swabs as my way of seeing colors, because I do see some more of the greens, I see red sheen, I see some different things here where none of that really is coming through in the writing samples. And that's why I really rely on writing samples for my color comparisons. I test viscosity or flow with a thing called a tilt test. I'll link it somewhere down below or up in the cards. Now, for the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. The Unreleased Organic Studios Dark Green has a viscosity of 2.35, making it normal. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples, and for the inks I've tested, I found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. The Unreleased Organic Studios Dark Green has an average dry time of 19 seconds, making it normal. The second writing sample is done on yellow Rhodia, P. Berger, and white lines paper. Here again, we're looking at it on the yellow Rhodia paper to see what kind of color change really can occur. And the strange thing is this: while it doesn't appear to be a whole bunch of color change, my opinion of it on the yellow is, to the eye, not so much on camera. I'm gonna hope that color correction in post really makes it right. But to the eye, you can really start to see that this is a super dark green over being black, which is largely how it looks on white paper. But it looks like a super, super dark green on the yellow Rhodia. Here we have P. Berger. It's a student grade French ruled paper. Lots of bleeding, lots of ghosting. Can't use the back of the page, but it does not touch the page underneath. The stub has lots of feathering. No halo, sheen, shade, spread, none of that. Just god-awful feathering throughout this. But then again, this is a cheaper paper. The extra fine is slightly lighter in tone than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 2 seconds to dry. The medium is darker, just like it was with the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 3 seconds to dry. So the stub was the only one with the feathering issues. The scrubby for both show us no color variation. We didn't expect it, and we didn't get it. And White Lines Paper, who has been doing very well for quite a while, didn't do as well with the stub. The extra fine has a bunch of darker bleed spots. The medium has a few, not bleeding through. I don't think you could use the back of the page for the stub, but you might be able to with the extra fine and the medium, depending on how sensitive you are to the ghosting. The stub, no way. The extra fine and the mediums, maybe. Dealer choice. The 1.1 stub has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, very dark. The extra fine is slightly lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade, 3 seconds to dry. The medium is darker than the extra fine, about the same tone as the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 4 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation. We didn't expect it, and we didn't get it, and that is all that I have for the writing samples. So what do I think of Organic Studios Dark Green? I understand why it was not released. It's not that it's bad, it is that it is absolutely so dark, you think it is just purely black. It doesn't appear to be any green about it. It performs perfectly fine, but It's just too dark. So what pen and nib would give the best writing experience with this ink? The only way you really get to see any of that green is by using a very dry stub, and that's what you're going to need to use here. If you've enjoyed this video, remember, I like thumbs up, you like thumbs up, everybody likes thumbs up. Unless you didn't like it, then give me the thumbs down. Both are good. Thanks for watching.